belonged to the Catholic Church, like Protestants, people like that. When they died, they couldn't get a priest to come and give them the last rites. And sometimes, they had somebody on the outskirts of their village that was like a medicine man or a medicine woman or something to that extent, kind of somebody that was a hermit, stayed to themselves. And they would come and they would get paid with like food and drink. Usually it was whatever was placed on the corpse. And it was believed that when they ate this, that they were taking in the sins of the person that died.
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah, eating stuff off the dead bodies.
Right, like that's where the food corpse cakes come from and things like that. That was an old practice, especially over in Ireland and places like that. And when they came to the United States, they brought that practice along, especially in the Appalachian Mountains. It still exists to this day. That there's people that are called sin eaters that do this. They go to the dead and they eat. They get the food from it. Usually it contained, a rock of salt and some bread. And that was supposed to absorb the sins of the person that died. And you would take that and eat that, and then the sins would go into you, which caused problems because kind of like the garbage man. You're glad to see the garbage man come, but when he leaves, he's a fuckhead. You don't want to see the garbage truck sitting in your front lawn. So it's kind of, they were ostracized because of that. It was something that they needed, but as soon as they did it, nobody wanted to be around them anymore. They were considered unclean. So
what time period did this take place in?
Still takes place today.
Oh, okay.
I said in the Appalachian Mountains, this still goes on. Matter of fact, guy's last name is DeLuca. He wrote a book about it. He still has a practice up in New York that he uses, that he does this for. And basically...
Hey, Papa, I have a question.
Go ahead.
What's the difference between tantric and Reiki?
Well, tantric has to do with sex.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird.
Why is it weird?
Nothing.
There's nothing weird.
Vampires are supposed to feed on blood.
Okay, wait a minute. Rachel Oz, why do you think sex is weird?
Long goddamn story.
Whoa. That wasn't me that said that.
Oh, okay. Oh.
That was Mad. That's Mad Warrior.
That's Mad Warrior. I'm sorry. So you think sex is weird. That's because she's a young girl. She's never had sex. Hopefully.
Oh.
We hope.
No, I had it. The whole process is weird. I mean, never mind. Sorry.
Sexy sexuality.
Well, if you haven't...
It's sticking something that you pissed out of into something else that somebody else pissed out of.
Yeah.
We'll let her keep believing that.
I didn't design it, okay? I didn't design it. It had to be a fucking engineer that designed that. Okay? Because if it would have been a mechanic, we wouldn't have made it work that way.
Oh, there was a question back here I missed that asking, do you think we're all of us are in some way energy vampires when we just don't realize how? Yeah.
No.
I agree with you there. No, we're not.
No, because you don't get that. The feeling that we get when we need something is it's a hunger that is hard to understand because it's coming from your body itself. I mean, your spirit itself, not your body. You know, it's not your stomach that's hungry. I mean, you could eat a full meal and still have this hunger inside you. And there's a tendency, there's basically, if you look at the vampire community in general, you either go from extremely skinny to overweight. There's very few in the middle ground. Because of the fact that you make up for it by other means. You know, when you can't fill that hunger, you eat. You know, it's something to take place of that. You know, it's like being hungry and you're never full. So you overcompensate.
Yeah. I know the feeling. It's almost like say you get addicted to some drug and then you don't have it anymore.
Right. You know, try to quit smoking.
Yeah, and you still have that. You can eat all you want, but you're still craving that cigarette.
Yep. You know, you can give me gum, Twizzlers, fucking. I don't get jelly beans. I don't give a shit. But you know, those first couple weeks that you quit, I mean, there's nothing that's going to help you. Nothing. You know, you've got to take it out of your mind because you just have to have that cigarette. If you don't, then, you know, you're going to, it hurts. It literally hurts until you have something that satisfies you or it passes. You know, it's hard for people to understand it, you know, and that's where we get into the problem with the community. You know, everybody that, oh yeah, I'm a vampire. No, you're not. You know, you've never been through the hunger, more or less. You've never been through that where you needed it that bad. You know, I know you haven't because I can see it. I can feel it. You're not. You just want to run around with pain.
I do at times like to think about what it'd be like to drink blood or something like that.
But that's kind of
the red juice.
You got to differentiate between if you're hungry or if it's just a fetish. I mean, there is fetish of people that just like to drink blood. That's, you know, their thing. There's a sexual component to it. Well, with us, there is no sexual component to it. You know, I don't get a hard-on from it. Any more than I get a hard-on from eating steak. Well, that's a lie. I can get a hard-on from a good steak. But, I mean, you know, it's like eating a burger at McDonald's. You don't get aroused from it. You know what I mean?
Ooh, this burger.
There's a lot of noise going on there, Madness Warrior.
You know, well, you had that guy with his chicken sandwich years ago, but, you know, that was just a YouTube thing.
I think he confuses steak with his wife's vagina in that sort of sense.
I've seen some ham sandwiches that, well, never mind.
Well, Madness Warrior, you're very gothic, so you think you may be a vampire? Is that why you called in?
Yeah, it's something like that. You know, it's like, you know, just because you're gothic doesn't make you a vampire. You know.
I know I'm not a vampire.
You don't think you're a vampire? You look like one.
Yeah, I do have dark hair, dark eyes, and pale skin, but...
Okay, so you're Irish. You know.
I'm not Irish, you look Irish.
You're not Irish.
I mean, there's a lot of people that got pale skin. I mean, you know.
I got pale skin.
Most of us are white. That's why we have pale skin.
Yeah.
You know, my ancestors come from Europe. Yeah, of course we got pale skin.
Yeah. So, do you think that vampirism goes back to the Nephilim?
if I read the stories correctly, I think that's where it goes back to. Because I believe that the descendants from them, the whole world was flooded shit. I don't buy it. I don't think it happens because we're finding trees that are how many thousands of years old that couldn't have been affected by the flood because at that time period they would have been covered and died. I mean, you think about it. If the world flooded for 40 days and nights, okay, you'd come back to a pile of mud. You know, if everything was covered, what would be left? Mud. You know, so apparently there wasn't, it wasn't what they said it was. That's impossible. Were big portions covered? Maybe, but not everything. So something had to be alive. Something had to live on. Because, Noah was a pervert and a drunk, but he still couldn't have repopulated the whole world. He did, his daughters got him drunk and had sex with him, These are the people that God thought were worth saving. Let's think about that.
No wonder where Daddy Kinks came from.
Yeah, So there had to be some of us left. I mean, there had to be people left that weren't an account for. And the whole idea of the flood was to get rid of the Nephilim and the people that were evil and all this other bullshit.
Mattis, you're making a lot of scratchy noises. What's going on there?
Sorry, I'm...
Okay, yeah, it's really showing up.
Shuffling
papers or something? Okay, go ahead. We interrupted Papa Coyote here.
I'm sorry.
But,
didn't mean to.
If there had to be somebody left over. There had to be more people, or you wouldn't have been able to populate as much as you did. You don't go from 4 people or 5 people up to 9 billion without having, something. There had to be more people here.
Yeah.
So, which I find is interesting because when they talk about the people that are here, I'll backtrack a little bit. When they were talking, well, not really backtracking, I'm going forward from the flood. There had to be people here that were different than everybody else, because if you listen to the stories about David and the Canaanites.
Exactly.
Okay. The Canaanites were supposed to be considered to be giants at the time. It wasn't, Goliath wasn't just a simple mistake. There was more of him. Okay?
Yeah, there was whole cities of them.
Right. St. Christopher, who supposedly carried Jesus across the river, was a Canaanite. And that's what he used to do. He would carry people across the river for a price because he was bigger than the river. He was taller. He's also considered the dog-faced saint because supposedly the Canaanite people had faces like a dog. Now, where the fuck they come from?
Wow. I never heard that one. But
I can show you the work that comes from, I've got the article saved in my computer because that's my namesake. That's who I was named after when I was born.
Wow.
So, you think about this and, the more research you do, the more you read, the more things you find out, obviously. And, wisdom and knowledge is your greatest weapon. And this is all things they don't teach you. Even me being Catholic when I was younger, and go back to that. Let's go back to Catholic. You're the main sacrament of the Catholic Church and all of Christianity is to drink the blood and eat the body of Jesus. Let's think about that a fucking minute. And people want to look at me like I'm weird.
Yeah.
You know, let's go back to that. Let's go back to your beliefs. Let's go back to what you do every Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, and you want to look at me like I'm weird? You're just doing it symbolically. At least I'm honest enough to admit to it.
Well, I heard someone say it one time ago that Catholics are vampiric or cannibals because they
They're
drink
not the
blood.
only
you know?
one.
Yeah.
They all do it. All the Christians do it. Lutherans, Protestants,
Yeah,
Methodists.
that's true.
I mean,
Or the-
anybody that takes
that
communion.
yeah, that's true. Most Christian religions, they all not only drink blood, but they eat this bread as symbolic of being a body.
Yeah. Think about that. I mean, you know, that's the basis of your religion. And you want to look at me like I kill babies and shit. Come on, people.
That's true.
You got
Like all the wars and everything was caused from religions.
I mean, then you have, you know, the Jewish faith that during circumcision, the mohel will kiss the penis and drink the blood of the baby that was circumcised.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's real. Go look it up. Go Google that.
What the
That's
hell?
fucked
Oh my god, never heard of that before.
Now, you want to talk to me about me being weird?
Holy smokers.
You know, look that up. Google it. It's out there. All this information is out there, and it's not on some weird fucking, you know, some crazy, you know, conservative Republican station. You know, this isn't Rush Limbaugh shit or Alex Jones. This is real things that happen in religion.
So, is anyone having a steak after this?
I sure as hell ain't going to have baby penis. I'll guarantee you that. And see, I want to know what the hell God does with all these foreskins anyway. You know, they take the foreskins for God. It's like, what, is he building a fucking house out of them?
There's
Actually, I
making a
think that the
parachute.
Catholic priests use them to play with, especially baby ones, because they're Catholic priests.
Oh, they wear them as rings or headbands. I don't know what the fuck they do with them.
Probably eat them. Who knows?
I don't know. Are they good deep fried? Or are they more like chicken gizzards?
Probably chicken gizzards.
It's chewy and, you know,
Well,
kind of have a gritty taste to
we
it.
I was trying to fucking chew them like beef jerky.
oh yeah, you could freeze dry them and do something.
Hey,
with
that's
it.
what everyone here does. An old man likes steak anyway. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Makes me wonder about the next time I order calamari.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't want to get the kosher calamari.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks anyway. I'll pass.
Oh
But,
my
you know,
gosh.
that's like people act like this is something new. That you know what I'm telling you is this big shocker of this shit's been going on for centuries. You know, it's built into religions, and I'm not bashing anybody. I mean, you know, I'm not bashing the Jewish religion. You know, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Catholic. But you know, go out there and read. Don't take the word of people and say this is right. Don't even listen to me. Don't take my word for it. Go look it up. You know, question everything that's put in front of you. There's more out there than what you realize.
Oh yeah.
You know.
This is all blowing my mind about the Jewish thing. They actually drink the blood of babies after they. Yeah, it is. And when you circumcise, like, why did they do it anyways? Why did they do that? Was it a?
It's supposed to be a hygienic thing.
I guess maybe back in the day they had to do that, but really what it does is it takes away the stimulation from the male.
That don't work. That don't work.
Yeah.
But that's the whole purpose behind circumcision, is so you don't touch your penis and masturbate. Well, that don't work either.
That's what I thought too. The whole thing about it is just to stop men from having as much pleasure with their thing.
That's all it is.
That's what I figured it was.
It's the same idea with women's circumcision. It's all the same thing.
That's even worse.
Why they do it.
That's even worse. That's twisted and total. That's total mutilation.
I wish I could be circumcised.
What?
For personal reasons.
Do you know what they actually do to those women? You don't even want to know.
Their clits. Yes, I know.
You don't want that. It's horrendously painful, and it's just it's sick.
Yeah, it's.
And then you don't even ever get pleasure out of sex in your life. That's gone.
I don't need sex.
You say that now. You're young.
Yeah, just wait. You'll change.
Oh, yeah.
How old are you exactly?
Me, I'm 16.
Oh, here.
16.
I'm reading this off of a site that is telling you the procedure for the bris ceremony, okay? The last stage is the most controversial. In the time of the Talmud, the mohel would suction the penis by mouth, actually sucking the blood from the wound. The rabbis in the Talmud believed that this kind of suction was a hygienic measure.
They suck baby penises.
Wow.
That is still
they
practiced
weren't kidding when it said his
today.
dick was small. Wow.
Oh, my God. They still do it today. Wow.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh. So we could, next time we see a rabbi, say, "Hey, Rabbi, how's it going? Did you suck any baby penis today?"
No, not the rabbi, the mohel. There's you know. Like, this you can really say he's a cocksucker, can't you? But, you know, and you want to look at me, adults. You know?
That's
don't. That's the whole thing. It's usually people that have things to hide are the ones that sit and point their fingers the most at others.
So, do you have any pet bats or anything like that? Or do you turn into a bat?
No, I don't turn into them. Come on. Drive a fucking Dodge truck. That's how I get around.
Yeah.
Turn into bats.
I'm kidding. Okay, what else do we got here? Rachel.
Sex of vampires? What the fuck?
Where'd you go? Where did you go, Rachel? She's gone. Rachel's gone.
Whoops.
I don't know what happened.
She flew away.
Maybe that was the bat noise. She turned into a bat and flew away.
Yeah.
Now, there is some... See, this is another thing where people get confused about turning into things. All right? Most of us that are really vampires also have some kind of magical background, have some kind of something that they do other than that. I mean, there's abilities that are more into this than what people think. And some people, like in most shamanic practices, can what they call shapeshift. Now, that's not changing into shit. It's when you go into a trance state and you can use an animal to see things with you. You kind of blend with like your spirit animal while you're in this trance. And you can use that to go to different places, to see things. They take you to see, like the future or something that's going on or a place where you need to meet an ancestor or something like that. That's all part of what they consider to be shape-shifting. No, wait, spiritual thing, not a physical thing. So
Apparently.
a lot.
Except
I
for
read
the
something
on the
once.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Hmm?
I don't know. Apparently, at the Skinwalker Ranch,
That I'd have
Probably.
to see. Thing at that point, whatever your spirit animal.
I am Igor. I come from the dungeon to say hi to you, Mr. Papa. Mr. Papa Vampire Master. And we are going to have a break apparently here. I will put on one of your favorite songs. It is one of mine too. We will be right back. With Papa Coyote the Vampire.
Igor's pretty far out, man. All right. Yeah, Igor's here. Well, we'll be back with
I gotta
Igor.
get one of them.
We're going to open up the lines if you want to call. Is that all right?
Yeah, I don't care.
If anyone wants to call from the chat room, the call-in number is 775-990-8447. 775-990-8447. It's in the Spreaker chat room there. I'll probably put it on hashtag 47Talk, which is my chat room in Twitter, which I call the Bouncy Castle.
And whatever
Incubus,
counts about
succubus.
our cast for power.
Of a dream world, a dark angel from the darker side of love, across the sea of tears, 100,000 years. And with her, we dance in the moonlight, and you are lost to this world evermore. Put your hand in her hand. Come and fly now with the angels. Rise again now like a phoenix. Know the love that lives forever in the heart that never dies. Never dies. Heart of a lily. Come and drown in the lake of her passion. Come and die so you can be reborn. Hear the sirens sing, hear the dead now ring. She's a witch, siren and a vampire. She has come from the distant stars. Take your heart, break your heart. Come and fly now with the angels. Rise again now like a phoenix. Know the love that lives forever in the heart that never dies. Never dies. Heart of a lily. Come and kiss the lips of lily. Come and kiss, you will be no more. Feel the fire of desire. Come and fly now with the angels. Rise again now like a phoenix. Know the love that lives forever in the heart that never dies. Never dies. Heart of a lily. Come and fly now with the angels. Rise again now like a phoenix. Know the love that lives forever in the heart that never dies. Never dies. Heart of a lily.
Yeah. Good.
that didn't go well.
It was just wheels in the sky. Wheels within wheels, all giant. I saw wheels in the sky. I saw light.
Wow. That was kind of cool. In the song, he was saying that the vampires she was singing about come from the stars.
Well, if you look back and you start reading, you'll find stories of Lilith, and it's controversial. Nobody's 100% sure, but there's the rumor that vampires basically came from Lilith.
Yeah, Lilith. Yeah.
We are her offspring. I said there's nothing to base it on because there's, nobody was alive back then to say 100%. Just like most mythology. But if you read the stories of Lilith, you will find that it's in the alphabet of Ben Sahara. That. Am I calling?
No. Yeah, we got a caller. Yeah. Go ahead. Craig's here.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, man. You got a question?
What's happening?
He's the guy.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. It sounds almost exactly like Wiccan or shamanism or just energy work in general. I just want to know how it's different. Like, how is it any different than these other modalities?
Like I said before, it's that I actually feed off of that energy. That's.
Well, yes, but when you think about it, we all feed off of energy, right? Whether it's ego energy or it's however you picture it, however you contextualize it, right? It's irrelevant. It's just your perception of how you paint your picture, right?
No.
You know what I mean? And I like the way I'm perceiving this. Like I was heckling you earlier, but I understand what you're saying, and I can translate it into whatever other modalities I've ever heard of, right? But like you have a very strong source. Like your source is very strong. So like when you take other people's energy, you can transmute it and change it into useful things for you, right? Because you are a better master of your energy, right? So, like, all I'm asking is, like, I don't, like, if you drop the perception, if you drop your context, I just don't see it as any different. That's all. I just wanted to.
Well, there's also rumors that, and like we were touching on earlier about the Nephilim, these were the people that were the offspring of humans and the divine, of the angels that came down and were watching over the earth. And
Adam, right? Descendants of Adam, for sure.
Actually, no. They're descendants of the fallen ones. Or the Anunnaki.
Sorry, wrong book.
Basically.
Well, these are the offspring that were taught how to make weapons. They were taught the mystical arts. They were taught how, they taught the women how to wear makeup. They were taught all these different things that the original humans didn't know at the time. So they were taught some of the things that only the deities knew, that only the divine knew. So some of us, in our perception, we are the offspring of them. Somehow we survived the Great Flood, and we were still able to flourish. Now, where that goes as far as what the abilities are, goes to as far as what our abilities were at the time. What did we learn? What is our ancestors know? Where does the bloodline go? Did we go? Did one side go to the engineers? Another one went to the ones with the mystical traits. These are all things that, just like you have an ability to do whatever. Say you're an artist. Well, where'd that come from? That was in your genes. That was in your, somewhere along down the line, there was an artist somewhere in your family. How comes you're a good singer, but, your brother isn't? It all has to do with genes and where it comes in at. Now,
so the reason
my
why...
genes...
Well, wait a minute. So you're saying that when I was born and I just could play the drums just naturally... Because that's really what happened. I was 5 years old. I already could play the drums.
Right. It came to you as an ability. Where'd you learn it from?
I knew it already. I don't know.
Right. How'd you know it?
I always thought it must be from a past life.
Yeah, I'd say soul memory.
But where did that memory come from? Where in the bloodline did it come from? Where down the line was all this? Where did this all start?
You see, this is just different perception, though. Like, if you call it DNA or you call it the soul, like it's past life or genetic memory, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like your soul doesn't necessarily have to be like what is DNA, right? DNA is pretty much like your soul. It's genetic code, right? It's fractals of reality. You know what I'm saying? Or like if you want to look at it like this, right? So I want to translate this to the UFO field, right? So I would call the same, like the blood you're talking about, maybe Rh negative, right? So you might be a little bit more predisposed to working with these energies or working with them at a certain level, right? So like a muggle or whatever people call them, right? In your world.
I just call it.
But like they're working off of lower energies because they're not quite as old of a soul, or they don't have as old of DNA, right? So let's say that, right? So your energy that you're working off is much different than the ego energy that other people work off, right? Because probably day to day I could say that you don't give two shits on what people think about you. Really, when it comes down to it, right? Is that true?
Yeah, I don't really
because you're not living off the same ego perception that most people live off of, right? Now, the only difference between me and somebody else that lives off of the new car they want to buy or some fucking ass they want to chase down the street is the energy I live off, right? I've realized that that's not going to bring me happiness and it's not going to bring me fullness, right? So I found different energies to work off. So, like, is that not the same? That's all I'm saying. Like, why do you need to, like, have that context? Why do you got to be so narrow in your perception, right?
I don't think I'm narrow in my perception. Because
I think, like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off again. I just want to finish that. But, like, because, like, the fact that it's conflict between people.
Where the fuck are you going with this?
You need to be executed.
That's not anything that I'm talking about. Where's this
I'm just talking about
hostility coming from, man?
Oh, that's absolutely no hostility, dude. I got nothing but love for you. I think you're amazing. Like, if you can help Maggie with her issues, I think that's fucking awesome, dude. Like, your ability to manipulate your energy or your chi or whatever you want to call it is phenomenal. It's just my only problem here is just like the limited perception and not being able to open yourself up to different things or keeping yourself closed. Or you're like, I'm not giving you negativity. The negativity is already in you. It's your perception that's creating the negativity between us. Do you understand that? Because your rigidity in your stance, in your perception.
You're taking what I said all wrong. You know, and you're comparing two things that aren't the same. Now, you said about living off the energy of buying a new car. That's emotion. That's emotional feelings. That's got nothing to do with your spirit. Your spirit has nothing, doesn't give a shit about that car. That is your mental ability. That is your mind that's doing that. That is the human side of you that is getting enjoyment out of that. What does your spirit need with a Maserati? You know, your spirit doesn't need that because when you die, it's not going with you. Your money is going with you.
I like to pretend my face is a Maserati.
that you're getting human things confused with what is spiritual. You know,
no, but they are the same thing, right? We're spiritual beings living in a 3D environment, right?
we're living in a human world, but the problem you have to get past the human part. You know,
Absolutely.
Things that are human doesn't apply to what I'm talking about. You know, this is something that's in my spirit, in my being itself, not in my physical being. I mean, I've had different meat suits over the years. You know, different lifetimes.
Absolutely.
I have been other things, just like everybody else. But,
I
you
think,
know,
Todd, when you're saying energy, do you mean like an aura that we produce off ourselves?
yes,
Or-
that's your insight, your basic spirit. You know,
Okay,
your soul,
so-
your you know, your chi, your prana, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's what it is. You know, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but that's only because of your perception, because you're an older soul, right? You realize that all this stuff in our environment is bullshit, right? Working to meet people's perceptions by buying that car is useless to you because you see past it, right? Because you are a higher spiritual being. That's the only difference between you and somebody else, right? Your perception of reality. So I'm just wondering, like I'm just trying to expand your horizons is all. Because like keeping yourself limited within this vampiric box, but really you're an energy worker, right? You're an old soul.
Oh, the problem is that I have a spirit that, or whatever the hell you want to call it, that doesn't retain the energy that's in it. That's a whole other ballgame there. You know, that's not like everybody else. Everybody else, you're self-contained. You know, there is no leaks. There is no, you know, any kind of osmosis that's going on where you are leaking that energy.
But that's my
that is
philosophy,
coming out.
right? I'm hermetic in my belief system. Like
You
it
know,
kind of found me
The
through
way
going
I
through
see
like
it is
my
that
life's
either
bullshit,
you
right?
need to
Hermeticism.
refill your energy,
So,
or
like-
you're so egotistical and so narcissistic that you refill your own energy. You believe what you say.
I've got my own inner fire staining. Like, what do you think that is? What do you think that's maybe karmic past or something that might have happened to you in a spiritual realm, or what do you think that is?
Well, number one, nothing
The energy, right? I'd love to hear your perception on that.
of being sensitive to energy.
Yeah, you're absolutely sensitive to energy, right? So why do you
Of
think?
course I am.
Where'd you lose that piece of yourself? Like, where are you ruptured? Are you giving it
It
to other
could be-
people all the time? Like, are you feeding other people? Are you giving your flame away? You know?
If you just
Well,
let me
your
explain.
energy can fracture just as much as anything else, a solid object.
No, like
or,
I'm asking.
you know,
I'm asking
matter,
him.
like your
Sorry.
bones. It can fracture.
If
it
you
can
look
fissure.
at
You can leak it.
if you look at this shamanic practices, there's a thing that's called soul retrieval, where they go back and they find shards of your soul that have been damaged. At some point, there was a traumatic event in one of your lives. It could have been this life. It could have been lives 10 years ago. 10 lifetimes ago, where there was something traumatic that damaged your spirit, and it broke. And there's a piece of it someplace else. That's why you don't feel whole anymore. You know, you don't feel like there's, you know, something, your life isn't going well or something's wrong. So it's not uncommon for that to be fractured or to be broken or to be something's wrong somewhere. You know, at some point, I don't know when, if I was born, you know, this way, if this is the way I was created, or there comes from a traumatic event, that there was a break, that there was damage, that it doesn't hold anymore.
Have you ever heard of a fire horse in Chinese mythology? Or Chinese, not zodiac, astronomy?
Yeah.
What a fire horse is somebody who actually feeds off the energy of everyone else around them really bad, and they actually used to kill these children at birth, right?
So there's precedence for this. There's precedence everywhere. Every culture has something for this.
You see where I'm
so
going?
It
You
can't
see where
be
I'm going with
something
this?
that never happened.
So have you
this
ever
is-
tried doing any kind of regressions or anything like that, or Akashic readings to try to isolate what that issue is, to see if you can fill that gap within your being, so you're not leaking any of this energy out anymore? Or do you have a parasite? Do you have a parasite that's feeding off of you?
Could be both. I mean, I do work with. I do paranormal work for people and things like that. I could have something that's on me. I mean, I try to keep
Well,
them off.
it's like-
I do the best I can, but that doesn't mean I miss something. I mean, fuck, everybody can miss something.
Yeah, absolutely. But like this would have been like
It's
from
it's
like a childhood
symbiotic
experience.
relationship.
I've
that
had some
Papa
weird
does.
things
It's
like
not
when I
something
go
that's
ahead.
parasitic. It's not something that just feeds and feeds and feeds. It's symbiotic. He takes and he gives. They need each other to live.
Master